All right, we got a little bit of news on Mikey. You know, if you clicked on it, if you clicked on the thumbnail, we got Mikey on the thumbnail. So it says Mikey responds to criticisms of him ducking competition and only looking for easy matches. So, guys, you know, I gotta read all this stuff. So be sure to like this video or something. I gotta read Mikey's post, bro. This look at all this. Look at all that stuff over there. Someone said reading that is like watching his De La Hiva instructional. So they don't really like Mikey on Reddit. You know, I don't know why. And this topic has come up a couple times. It says 3 months, 6 days, 1 month ago. So let's read. This is Mikey Musumeci. Hey, Darth Rigatoni. I'm so sick of you guys saying I'm looking for easy matches. Right before moving to Asia, you are looking for easy matches. What are you talking about? You just fought a dude that didn't do Nogi. The guy started Nogi last week. I was supposed to headline a card with versus Gio, and then my grandma. Oh, okay, didn't know about that. He said his grandmother died, and I wasn't able to do the match. So Gio did a whole camp for no reason for that. This year, March, so that was 2022. He did that. This year, March and May, we were supposed to finally do the match, and both matches were canceled as well. Why were they canceled? Why were they canceled, Mikey? Mikey, why did you do the show without Gio Martinez in it? Let's see if he addresses that. He didn't say why they were canceled. He says both matches were canceled, so Gio did camps and all this training for matches that didn't happen. Was that fair to him? That's why I gave him my word we would do the match 100% the second I got the belt. Now let's talk about my matches the past few years. First of all, I'm not on supplements and can't compete every week. I get super ill and injured when I attempt to. In 2021, I started competing in Nogi, essentially winning the Who's Number 1 belt, and also I won my 4th black belt world title, beating Bruno Malfacine in the finals. I then ended up moving to Asia and signing with One Championship with the goal of growing jiu-jitsu to another audience outside the jiu-jitsu world. My first match in Asia ever, I got to compete with an idol of mine and Japanese legend Imanari. Why were you fighting Imanari? He old. It was such an honor to do so. And in his continent. Is Asia a continent? It's Asia. Japan's an island, so he is Asia a continent, guys? Several continents in Asia, but what do I know? I don't know geography. Guys, make sure you're liking this video if I gotta read this mess. It was such an honor to do so, and we were the most viewed match in One Championship history for grappling still to this date. So we helped grow our sport to more people. We got more views. Okay, all right, Mikey. Mikey, poor Mikey. I then suffered from appendicitis and needed an emergency appendectomy, taking me out of doing ADCC that year, which you guys gave me hate for. But still earlier, he agreed to fight Kleber Souza, a guy I lost to in the past, for my first time in my weight class in One Championship. I was walking around 130 to 128 week of for this match. Definitely perfect size for vitamin powered 170-pound ADCC people cutting to 145. After I won the belt, I had to wait until January to compete again. One couldn't get any matches for me in those months. That's why we're saying you're ducking, bro. You ran off the One Championship. And it was against the current world champion in Combat Sambo, just like Cade and Daniel Kelly did as well. And that match was the second most viewed match in One history. The Mongolian guy that wouldn't tap to the heel hook. After this match, I fought the current Rooster weight IBJJF world champion at the time, Osama. Who was that guy? Because he had just won Black Belt Worlds. Who was that guy? Then we tried for months to get me matches with opponents. Pato couldn't make 135. Taliesin didn't accept. We tried multiple times. Lucas Pinero didn't accept, so I was with no opponents. So who accepted were MMA fighters. And I just wanted to fight and do matches at that point. And my goal was to grow our sport. Mikey, don't put growing the sport on. You keep using that as a cover, bro. You did those matches. You signed up for one championship. You did those matches. Don't put it as he's trying to like make excuses. It's just I don't know. Just say you were ducking, bro. just say you were ducking, bro. I mean, he was all the way over in Asia. So if you wanted to fight Mikey, it was completely unfair. You had to fly probably the day before you fly in. You jet lagged. You got to cut weight. And then you fight Mikey. Everything was geared towards helping Mikey win. And I don't know if you guys ever watched the Apprentice episode, the series they did on the Apprentice with Mikey. It was, one championship did it for Chaudhary. But like everybody, the whole show was geared towards Mikey. Which it made no sense. I couldn't even finish the whole series. But everything is geared towards Mikey. Even UFC BJJ is geared towards Mikey. He's fighting guys, no nogi experience. And then he gets upset when people say he's ducking people, which is true. He hasn't fought anybody that we were like really wanted to see him fight. He didn't do any of the tournaments that, he stopped doing the tournaments where he would get challenged. He can keep saying, well, one championship picked my opponents. UFC picked my opponents. I mean, don't you have some say in some of this stuff? So I just don't believe what Mikey's saying. I'm sorry. I don't believe any of it. And of course, these guys, they don't want to. You're at a complete disadvantage. You fly in. One championship flies you in the night before to Asia. You definitely jet lagged. You got to cut weight. Fight Mikey. You don't know what's going on. You're completely out of your element. You fight Mikey, and then you're not going to do well because you're just out of your element. So just like it wasn't a good deal. So he's fighting MMA fighters, and I wanted to fight and do matches at this point. My goal was to grow the sport to larger audiences. I don't know if it actually, it's kind of hard to measure if it did gain a bigger audience or not. So I fought Jared Brooks and then Shinya Aoki. So he shouldn't have been Shinya Aoki like 30. He's my age. He's 38 years old, maybe older. And both matches also did really well with viewership. Does viewership grow the sport? He keeps using these numbers, the viewership. I don't know. I don't know if that actually means anything. Instead of being mad at me for trying to grow our sport, he keeps saying that, so I don't believe it's true. Why would you give me some recognition? Why don't you guys give me some recognition? Give me recognition. I'm doing all this for you. Mikey, you did that for yourself, bro. This is why they ran him off Reddit. Sorry, I got a frog in my voice, guys. Doing live streams every day for 2 hours will take your voice out. Says, why don't you guys give me some recognition? I think I was doing a great job. Then immediately after Shinya, I asked Chaudhary, I want to fight the best people possible. Like, go on death row, so they set up both ADCC champions Baby Shark and Cade back-to-back. That sounds like I'm backing down for matches. Then Baby Shark canceled the match about 4 times because he sent them all the steroids he's on. Oh, I meant to say vitamins. What are you on, Baby Shark? And I offered to do the match, no drug testing. Then he fought Who's Number One instead of fighting me in the agreed month that he was supposed to. Anyways, then I begged for Gabriel Souza because I couldn't fight Baby Shark. I wanted the challenge. Gabriel said he couldn't make 135, so I moved up and fought him at 145. Our first match when I was sick with COVID was 155. Why were you fighting with COVID, Mikey? For reference. Cade gets injured and pulls out. Then I try to fight current world champion Babito at the time. I ripped my lung. How did he rip his lung? I ripped my lung essentially from high elevation breathing training I was doing and Hickson breathing now. I'm out again. My first debut match in UFC, I begged for Baby Shark again, but now he says he's exclusive to one and can't fight me. Well, Mikey, you're the one that started the one championship grappling. So I agree to Felipe Machado, who just defeated Juni. Just to put into his perspective, he is good at 135. But the overtraining those months for Baby Shark, again, I'm not on Jesus Christ. I'm not on supplements. It's not sustainable for me to be in camp killing myself many months and then be told I will be fighting this person every month, then changed again. Led to my body deteriorating. I still have 3 stomach ulcers. Been doing so much PT since that time just to get my body healthy again after killing it, wanting to fight the best person, Baby Shark. I accepted the Ultimate Fighter show to fight with Gordon and then Craig, but both were unable to do so. So let me ask you, if I accepted to compete with Baby Shark 6 times, Cade, Gordon, and Craig, how do I run from anyone? Hope this helps people understand my perspective. I can't change if you guys hate me, but just know I'm doing the best I can and working to change our sport so we have drug testing and more of a better situation. I don't know, man. I don't really believe what Mikey's saying, but maybe you guys can believe for me. You guys believe Mikey for me. Said a lot of factors that were outside of his control, and I think a lot of people like the way he approached coaching in the UFC BJJ. That said, I'd imagine a lot of the criticism resurfaced due to the way he approached his match. Going against a gi guy, instead of showcasing BJJ, he took the easy route by hopping in and basically attacking the legs from the get-go, knowing full well he could have won and demonstrated other elements of his game. He doesn't have other elements of his game. And he does have other elements, but he doesn't trust those elements. He could have done so in a way that general audience he talks about expanding to can follow along, but he took the easy route. Compare his match with the likes of Gordon, Marcelo, even Craig, and the vibe just isn't there. Yeah, that's right. You know, Mikey keeps saying he's going to grow the sport, but I mean, I actually don't mind Mikey's style, but his style is not geared towards growing the sport. It's geared towards winning. So you could say, in effect, that Mikey, his style limits him in growing the sport. That probably hinders the sport more than grows the sport. So I don't know what to say. You know, if Mikey would have to go out there and wrestle and take people down and pass the guard to grow the sport. But I don't think you can do that stuff. I enjoyed his match against Souza, but my point is more around what he says about audience building, and because it's a cover, it's an excuse. Well, someone said I enjoy watching Musumeci matches a lot more than Jones or Gordon. Vibe is so much better. And then the other guy says, what he says about audience building and being the headliner of UFC BJJ and then doing what he did in that match. He made a big statement about how BJJ being ultra violent and then goes out hopping, and then goes out hopping. He was hopping for a little bit, nor did he really pursue non-leg entanglements even when he had a good front headlock. He's autistic, bro. He's hyper focused on getting the legs. Yeah, I don't know, man. You guys can say I'm negative. I try to do my part to make jiu-jitsu entertaining. It's tough though. So Mikey's trying to do the match against Gio again. I don't know. They're probably gonna cancel it. Gio's almost 40. Mikey ain't fighting nobody young. Well, Harrison was young, but he didn't do no nogi. Mikey need to fight just young people. He need to fight Owen Jones. He need to fight all those young people. You know, Baby Shark and all these other guys. Why doesn't he just do ADCC? Mikey, just do ADCC. He's complaining that they cut weight. Mikey, you cut weight too. I just don't want to hear no excuses, man. I don't want to hear no excuses. Someone says he's avoiding all the good 66 kilogram competitors. People act like he's too small, but he'd have to cut to make 66. He hasn't fought top competition for years. What What bugs me more is that he doesn't even try to put on a show. He will just play to the strongest part of his game. It said the UFC contract's locking you out of ADCC. That's what Mikey wants. He wants to be locked out of ADCC. And CGI is pretty unappealing for many top grapplers. It's likely going to be the Mikey show for a few years unless they relax those restrictions. Why doesn't Mikey just say, hey, I want to make money. I don't want to fight these other tough guys that are possibly on supplements. Just say that, Mikey. Okay, problem solved. Says DeAndre Corbry looks good too, in my opinion. He beat Pato the last time they fought by points or something. Decision. He's too big. True, but Mikey has a scheduled match with Cade, or he did have one. Okay, that was Mikey. That was the post Mikey made. I'm a Mikey zealot, but I'm with you for real. I believe he's the best in the world by a wide margin, and I wish he would prove it. He's proven it before, but we still want him to continue proving it. I'd like to think other top guys are ducking him, but there's really nobody in the top 10 in 135 or 145 that wants to fight him. Nobody better than Gio. Mikey needs to go where those people are. So Mikey, he keeps trying to bring people. It's not fair because Mikey, he creates these kind of moats, these barriers. So if you want to fight Mikey, you got to go over to Asia. You got to get through UFC to fight him. You can't just, Mikey. Jason says, Reddit is more for people like Craig and Gordon. Reddit is the valley of the wolves, and Mikey is a lamb. That is true. So when Mikey writes things like this, all the viewers see is lamb chops. Yep. That's what I see too. That's the thing though. Like if he's really that dominant, then yeah. Where are all the killers lining up? Either everyone's scared or his team being way too selective. Well, he's not doing the tournaments where all the top people are. He's trying to create these moats and then pull people, pick and choose who comes through. I think Mikey needs to do ADCC. He needs to do IBJJF. If he wants to fight the best people in his weight class. But that's not going to happen. He's gonna stay in UFC BJJ and continue to get those checks and not fight the best people in the world. So it is what it is. Someone says I'm a hardcore Mikey fan. I just want to see him compete versus the best in the world while he's still in his prime. That's the thing though. Like if he's really that dominant, okay, I read that. I get Pato and Diogo might be protecting their brand, but what about the less established guys? There are certainly competitors that want a shot and are deserving. Someone says, I don't think Pato's dodging anyone. He moved up in weight to compete against Dante Leon at who's number one, who's significantly bigger. Between Mikey and Pato, I gotta say, Pato's been fighting tougher people. He will go up a weight class. Well, you could say he's got some help to do that, but he goes up and fights whoever. Mikey isn't competing anywhere they want to be. Calling him out does nothing for them. Pato isn't protecting anything. He wants to have the freedom to keep doing ADCC, IBJF Worlds, who's number one, etc. Instead of locking himself into a situation where he just competes 3 times a year against subpar opposition like Mikey has. Mikey doesn't really have a something to say against that. He doesn't have anything to say. He's going to keep saying, "Oh, I'm trying to grow the sport by not fighting the best people in the world." I'm going to continue to grow the sport by grabbing feet and not doing takedowns, not doing any type of jiu-jitsu that people want to see. If Mikey really were top 10 in the world, then he would bulk up. Any world level heavyweight would given him a hard match. Oh, well, why are you saying that? That was stupid. It says, happy to see Gio get a nice payday potentially. Mikey's only gotten better since their match, and Gio is on the wrong side of 35. Think this is even more one-sided than... No, there's no way it's more one-sided than Harrison. Harrison he didn't know any no-gi. It says more like someone he was supposed to fight but canceled to do UFC show. Regardless of how anyone feels about Gio, that's a pretty bad thing to do. Well, Gio didn't cancel the match. Why didn't he? I don't know. I don't want to try to get into Mikey's brain. I don't want to. There's a lot of people for Mikey to fight. It's just they're not putting the energy into it. It's I don't know what to say. I mean, the results say that Mikey is ducking people. He keeps going to these organizations where he doesn't fight the best people. So to me, that's ducking. Says unbelievably lame. Give me Joseph Chin. Actually see somebody able to pass his guard. Says I don't think Mikey is ducking anyone. Well, we're not saying back in the day. We're saying now. Dude fought whoever turned up on the IBJJF circuit for years on end. We're just seeing the effects of exclusive contracts in real time. Nobody told Mikey to sign those exclusive contracts. He's been signed to one and UFC for several years. Mikey, the one that signed those things, and he's been the golden boy for both of them. Firstly, they're going to try to protect that, and they wouldn't want someone to compete against him without also signing an exclusive contract. Some guys aren't willing to do that, particularly because they're probably not offering them the best terms imaginable. Secondly, he's been pretty consistently competing 135. I'm not sure Diogo or Pato could comfortably make that weight. They rightfully might not want to compete at that, whereas Mikey rightfully might not want to compete above. And then the other major factor is fighter pay. Yes, Mikey could go do ADCC, but you really expect him to not get paid to compete unless he wins 4 matches and makes 10K. Then he's been getting 50K just as a bonus for most matches at one. That's not ducking ADCC. That's just like you don't say Gordon is ducking EBI. Yeah, I don't know, man. I don't know. You can do whatever you want.